Ammo is crazy expensive and hard to find, and dry fire is life. I use the Mantis X10 to keep my handgun skills strong, and it makes dry practice fun and challenging. Check it out at the link below.
Hey guys, Brian Hill with The Complete Combatant. This is Mantis Dry Fire Monday, and we're on Active Self-Protection Extra. And my good friend has traveled all the way from Oregon here. Why don't you introduce yourself, good friend?
Hi guys, I'm Chris. I'm from Oregon. I run a small company called Tactical Advantage, working with like performance shooting, things like that.
See the product placement? We're all shilling, aren't we?
Yeah, buddy.
Some of us are smart enough to do it for ourselves, which is a great way to start. So we were talking about the path to performance. Chris is a really good shooter. He's really fast. And some things in life are a gift. You know, some of us come with a certain amount of speed or flexibility, agility, endurance, or strength. So how do we work around those? How do we get better? And it was an interesting conversation because you said one of the biggest blocks for you was tension.
Absolutely.
So why don't you expand on that a little bit?
Yeah, so on my path to try and get faster, and we'll frame it with the draw.
Yeah.
So for a long time, I was a really consistent like 120 kind of shooter. And I really just couldn't break that mental block to get there.
Yeah.
And what I found out over time, and really what had happened is I shot with so much tension, I ended up actually damaging my neck pretty bad.
Yeah.
And I had to get some surgery, and then to actually return to shooting, I actually had to learn to change the way I do things physiologically because it hurt. But once I learned that feeling to release some of that tension, immediately speed started coming in. And it's we were actually briefly talking about this. It's hard to explain to somebody because you actually have to experience what the lack of tension feels like. Because even when you think you're relaxed, if you go and look at yourself on video, things like that, you're probably tensing up somewhere.
Two things here too. Number one, I'm going to go over my least favorite thing to hear said in training is that pain is merely fear leaving the body. It's not. It's a signal something's wrong. You can train so hard that you damage yourself.
Absolutely.
So that would be too much. All right. Now, too little would be what? We draw the gun, it flies out of our hands.
Yeah.
So what is the term between tension and relaxation? Well, I have it for you guys. It's called tone. So when an athlete has good muscle tone, not how it sits, but how he's ready to react. And what that means is he's only activating the muscles that are necessary for the movement, and the opposing muscle is in a relaxed state.
Gotcha.
But we find in tension is what? If we just look at the arm, I want to draw fast, so I need a lot of bicep, but what else do I tense? The tricep. So it slows down the whole process. So we're actually applying brakes to a movement we want to go faster. So we've got to find a place where tone exists. Now, how did you get to a place, and I know that's a new term for you, so I didn't make it up, I promise, it's real. All right? How did you get to that place of tone in your draw? Like, what is your best draw? Live.
Probably in the 80s, low
Okay.
80s.
That's fantastic, right? Good accuracy, too. He's one of the few guys that has done my trifecta drill under 3 seconds. And when I say few, it's him and me. So it's not a whole lot.
Yeah, so I think for me, and this goes back to when I had done or injured myself, I went through pretty invasive surgery.
Yeah.
I damaged
You're
my
kind of worried
radial-
if you're going to shoot again,
Yeah,
right?
I damaged my radial and ulnar nerve, completely shut off my support side.
Yeah.
So when I was released to go back to shooting, and I had a great physical therapist, by the way, that actually helped me learn some things.
Therapy's
going through
important,
physical
get
therapy. But just learning how to get the movements without causing pain. So pain was the indicator for me that things were going wrong. It wasn't so much mechanically or rolling the shoulder or something like that, as how can I move without inducing pain? So for me, it was a net positive that I did that, because I don't know that I would have ever crossed that line without that happening. I don't want to revisit that again.
Right.
But it helped me learn some things and experience some things that I wouldn't have done otherwise.
So really our buffer is if we do something too hard, too tense, we're going to get painful reminders. And if we do it for too long, we're going to have injuries, which will make us stop no matter what. And then the other side of that is if we're too relaxed, we're too lackadaisical, we take too much time, therefore we don't get the result we want. So either pain is telling us to relax, and tension needs to come back in when we're not getting the result that we want at speed. So now we have a good pathway to move forward. You and I are geared very differently, I think, as human beings. If you need me to carry something heavy for long distances, I'm your man. All right. If you need him to get there first, he's your guy. He's really quick. All right. But we both have worked really hard on our draw.
Yep, absolutely.
You know, and I think eventually I probably had to come in from too much relaxation. You came in from too much tension, and we ended up where? at about the same place,
yeah,
right?
really, and that's the same thing. There's multiple ways to get where you need to go, and I think what people run into is they think that there's one singular method to get them where they need to go, and you'll roadblock yourself. You know, there's certain ways that you have to deal with your physiology and your abilities to do things, and work around that. You'll get to the same place.
So how'd you get past your roadblock? What'd you do?
That was really just learning to kind of relax, like learning, because that was literally my thing. Like my draw is literally, and just learning to kind of just let that go and let it kind of happen. And I think we were just talking a few minutes ago. You're kind of the opposite. You have like an abundance of accuracy that puts the mental on that side of it. And
you know, I've talked about this before. There's kind of a slope of decisions, you know, like the Pareto principle of slopes. 40% too late, too much accuracy. 40% too early, too little accuracy. So 20%, depending on the size of the target. So if we have a big target, 20%. We have a medium target, 10%. Little bitty target, 5%. And what you probably were feeling, the sensation was too little time to do what you needed to do.
Sure.
So therefore you're boring down, trying to make time, right?
Yeah,
For me, there was no reward unless I shot accurately.
Right.
So no matter what, if it was a sundial sort of draw, I could say, well, at least I was accurate.
Right.
So I'm constantly being rewarded, which may be a harder path, where it was more for you. You just had to let go and let unconscious competence manifest and see it.
Yeah, I think it's interesting to talk about because it's really the same exercise. But different dynamics hold different people back.
I do.
And once you understand what's causing your roadblocks, that's when you can overcome them.
Well, he's moving towards this area. So the first thing I said to him when he showed up today is I want you as a training partner, because we're oppositely paired, which means we'll probably make the other one do more than he would if we were the same. So if both of us were really speed abundance guys, all we're going to try to do is go fast.
Yep.
But if one of us is incredibly accurate, one of us is incredibly fast, what's going to happen as training partners is we're going to meet somewhere in the middle, and then we're going to have a good balance between that, which means when we get ready to perform, we'll have both speed and accuracy, because you don't get to choose.
Yeah.
You got to have both.
Right.
I've never met an instructor who says you could just go fast and miss. I've never had one said you can take forever and shoot whatever you want. You got to have both.
Yep.
And we've got to recognize how we're geared.
Yep. Yeah, I've tried to just kind of throw it out there and miss. It didn't work out too well. It doesn't, you know.
But really all you needed to do was what at that point?
Really just start understanding, care. Care would probably be a really good word.
I think it is.
Throw some care at it, where you get so wrapped up in the ability to move, you're forgetting the function or why you're moving. What is the end result? Not that you want to get tied up in the end result, but you have to be mindful of it before you start the exercise. You know?
We talked about this briefly, recognition prime decision making. That's what intuition is. So we only need about 10% of our brain to shoot, not 100%. It's a very small part of our brain that does shooting. So therefore we have to let go and trust that part, that it's going to manifest, and it's okay to make the mistake, but it's also okay to care about it.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And then you start calling your shots in advance instead of after the fact.
Absolutely.
Fantastic, buddy. I appreciate you coming out.
Yeah, man.
Talking on camera. It's always a pleasure. I love watching your videos. I love watching you get after it. And I really appreciate you doing this for us.
I appreciate it very much.
All right, guys, get on your Mantis. It's the greatest way to practice your holster analysis. You're going to get time markers that you simply can't get in other places. I highly recommend the draw analysis. That is a key to use the Mantis for that too.
Absolutely. Feedback is your friend.
Man, when you can break it down into the grip, the pull, the horizontal, how long you're on target, you just can't do that with any other practice methodology. So I really recommend it. Appreciate you guys tuning in for this. And as always, remember, measure, refine, and perform.